It's time to get on P6 boat and lock on for 10 years until it is out, probably. So let's take a look at new information about the game that we'll be playing when we're like 40 years old, right? Excited for P6, but I'll wait if I actually like it. Yeah, exactly. There is a chance that they're gonna introduce some new things that we might not like, that are there to please maybe some of the newer audiences with different attitudes, opinions, and whatnot, which I'm always kind of scared of when it comes to games. And I really do hope that they maintain, the attitude of just not caring and just making the games good instead. Yeah, Neon is sick. I am getting better, hopefully. We'll see if we'll see if I'm actually better by the time we finish the stream. Anyhow, are we ready for this? All right, let's go. Spoilers.
One of the biggest JRPG releases this decade, and with so many hopeful Persona fans wishing for an official reveal of Persona 6.
Where's this from?
I thought now is the best time to go deep into every Persona 6 leak and rumor, including statements released from Sega and Atlus. Heck, even some rumors point at the Game Awards and even a Switch 2 reveal being the moment Persona 6 finally gets its proper official reveal to the world. So
this is P5, right? This is the intro. I remember that.
And grab your favorite snack from Juness as we take a chronological look at every single rumor and leak that has come out for Persona 6 thus far. It goes without saying, none of these leaks and rumors we are about to go through have been confirmed by Atlus, so take all this with grains of salt. Also, as much as it would be awesome to see Persona 6 at the Game Awards in just a matter of days,
do you guys feel like Persona 3 Reload got completely overlooked by the Game Awards, by the way? Because I feel like Persona 3 Reload came out and no one's even talking about it. I'm actually so disappointed.
I'm not saying that the game will make an official appearance there. If we don't hear about it at the Game Awards, we're gonna hear about Persona 6 within the next year or so. So just go into this video for a complete and up-to-date summary of everything that we know about Persona 6, both confirmed by the developers and from the various leaks and rumors. Because we have a lot to go over, this information will be split into 3 distinct parts, with the first part discussing the various statements from Sega and Atlus themselves.
Okay.
Heading into part 2, where we have compiled everything we have learned about Persona 6 from the first round of leaks that occurred during the first.
So there's official stuff as well. That's good.
We will dive into the more recent leaks and rumors that corroborate much of the content outlined in part 2's leaks, while further adding to them, like release date information, additional Persona games in development, and more.
Is this Persona 2 as well?
By the way, are you pumped for Persona 6? You bet I am. So let's get right to it. Starting with statements from Atlus, we're going several years back to 2017, right when Persona 5 launched on the PS3 and PS4 in the West. It was here that fans spotted a recruitment website that all but confirmed Persona 6, with former Atlus CEO and president Naoto Hiraoka, now managing editor for Atlus, bringing up the topic of upcoming projects for Atlus. Here is what Hiraoka had to say about a prospective Persona 6, with the translation provided from the talent at Persona Central. Thanks to the large amount of support we received for Persona 5, we have gotten a sense of accomplishment, but we can't stop there. When we created Persona 4, there was pressure that it had to exceed Persona 3. Now, we will have to create a 6, which exceeds 5.
How?
Exceeding 5 will be difficult with the current staff. I would like to surpass this tall hurdle with
fire everyone.
Joins us in this recruitment. The workplace is perfect for those who want a creative challenge when it comes to bringing games to the world. With Hiraoka stating here that it would be difficult to exceed Persona 5 with the current staff.
Oh my god, I'm gonna see some spoilers.
At a desire for a larger team, capable of accomplishing something that is a bit more ambitious than the previous Persona games. And if there's any merit to what we heard from the insider information later on, Persona 6 is definitely slated to be the biggest Persona game yet. It is worth noting that just a year prior in 2016, when Persona 5 first launched in Japan, that Atlus also formed a brand new studio, Studio Zero, containing many elite Atlus members who contributed to the Persona series over the years.
Metaphor!
The incredible Metaphor Refantasio having released this past October. Metaphor was Atlus's fastest selling game of all time, selling more than 1 million copies on its first day alone.
Good marketing campaign too.
Already done so. Trust me, it's one of the best JRPGs out there. Getting back to Persona 6, over on Persona Central, GNN Gamer asked Atlus, because Studio Zero has been established, we will not see Persona 6 anytime soon, right? Hiraoka responded by stating that the Persona franchise remains Atlus's most important series, and that Atlus will continue to give it that distinction well into the future. Hiraoka stated, quote, "The next step for it is already in preparation, so stay tuned." That next step appears to be in the numerous job postings for Persona 6 that we went over earlier. So work on this game likely started in the late 2010s on Persona 6.
2010s?
Reliable insider sources confirming just that, which we will get into shortly.
Still a lot of years.
Insider information, let's fast forward to November 2023, where Sega, the publisher of the Persona series in Japan, stated in a Q&A session with investors with the ambitions that, quote, "It would be possible for Persona 6 to achieve sales of 5 million copies in its launch year by releasing it on multiple platforms and simultaneously worldwide from day one."
Thank you.
The statement hints at numerous things: a sales target, plus a worldwide launch, of which we saw happen with Persona 3 Reload, and also a multi-platform launch, which would break the tradition of having every mainline Persona game debut on a PlayStation console.
See, Victor, you say Metaphor is already better than 5, so they can do. This is probably true, even though I haven't finished Persona 5. This is just something that I wanted to comment on. But I think that with Persona games and with Metaphor as well, I think the game just needs a little bit of time to breathe. Like I'm gonna be honest, I've been having a lot of trouble with getting people to be interested in Metaphor content across Twitch and YouTube, and I think a part of the reason why that is because it's just so early, and a lot of people are still playing it, still haven't finished it, and still haven't really discovered that it is one of the best games, which is weird coming from me because I personally haven't finished the game, but other people say that
it's one of the best games they've ever played and whatever.
I just wish that the games weren't so long that people take like 3 to 4 months to actually play them and realize that it is, you know, it is one of the best games. I am yet to finish it, and I will make a review of some sort when I'm done with it, and I'll finish my playthrough probably on YouTube, if not on Twitch, but it's just really difficult very early on into these. Oh, what was that? What was that? What was that? What was that sound? That was Mitsuru speaking to me. I heard the best girl's voice. Was that? Oh, that was second. Oh, okay. That scared the fuck out of me. Anyway. Mitsuru just spoke to me out of nowhere. She's like, "I'm counting on you." It's like, where are we going? What are we doing? Anyway. Just get Yoko Taro, let him do whatever he wants, but we get a Persona game that breaks the player's mind. How cool would that be? That would be the best co-op work that we don't even deserve at this point. Yep, from Mitsuru from Persona 3. That was her voice. That scared me.
Outside of Persona 3 Reload, which happens to be a remake. Also, finally having documentation of the title Persona 6 stated from Sega is enough to hit home just how real this game is getting. And that transitions us directly into part 2, where we'll be looking at everything we've heard regarding Persona 6 from the various insiders over the first half of 2024. We first learned about Persona 6's platform information when insider Nate the Hate discussed that Persona 6 will likely come to the Xbox platform, with, quote, "From what I've heard, it does seem as though Persona 6 will be coming to the Xbox, so fans have something to look forward to," said Nate the Hate. I'm not 100% sure if it's like day and date with the PlayStation version, but considering the way the Persona games have been day and date with the multi-platform releases at this point, it may be a safe assumption to make that Persona 6 will be be day and date on Xbox. And
It should be. It really should
we're going
be.
to have to make mention of the now infamously defunct ex-user Midori here. And while the identity of Midori has been revealed as Ryan from the Bronx, of whom will resurface in part 3, just know that regardless of what befell this Midori account when it was active earlier this year, that the information this user disclosed was incredibly reliable. Midori accurately revealed games like Persona 3 Reload and its DLC and Persona 5 Tactica well before their official announcements.
Did they reveal it?
It doesn't exist
No, they didn't.
now under this current name.
What happened there?
Heard that this user knows what they're talking about, but again, as these are leaks and rumors, take them with grains of salt. Earlier in 2024, Midori validated this information and went further by saying that Persona 6 will be available on multiple platforms, even including the Switch 2, which is tentatively slated to release next spring in 2025. Due to the success of Persona 3 Reload having achieved sales of over 1 million units sold within its first week, it wouldn't be shocking to hear that Atlus...
So the game is coming out after spring for sure. Like, obviously, if Persona 6 was to be coming out, they would have needed a longer marketing campaign than just being like, hey, this is what we're doing in 2 months. That's not happening. It's gonna take a long time for the game to be released, even when they officially announce it.
May be planning, just as Sega had discussed in the financial report, to release the game on multiple platforms at launch to achieve tremendous success. While we have no official confirmation of the platforms, I would imagine Persona 6 to launch on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Steam, and Switch 2. Midori would go on to claim that even Persona 3 Reload would be getting a Switch 2 release, so I'm sure getting Persona 6 on Nintendo's next handheld hybrid will be of great importance. As to when we can expect to see the game get announced, Midori claimed in the summer of last year that it will be, quote, talked about next year, as in 2024, along with an unrevealed spin-off game. This spin-off game for a long time was rumored to be Persona ASA, which was slated to be a party game starring the cast of all 5 Persona games, but this game has since faded from existence, with all Persona insiders suggesting the game got cancelled. Nevertheless, Midori in November 2020.
Why was it cancelled? Why was it cancelled in the first place?
Slated for a release sometime in 2025. Head on the Block, another prominent Persona leaker that also correctly predicted a number of game reveals, including exactly
oh my god, they're gonna spoil me, P5. Watch it.
Year, further corroborates Midori's claim, stating that Persona 6 is a lock for 2025. Zippo, a prominent Sega insider, however, claims that Persona 6 is slated to release in 2026 to punctuate Persona's 30th anniversary. Either way, we are likely to hear about Persona 6 officially later this year if it indeed releases next year in 2025, just like Midori and Head on the Block have claimed. Earlier this year, Midori claimed on Twitter that Persona 6, along with Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Tactica, began development back in 2019. So the game has certainly been cooking for several years, if this turns out to be true. Go ahead and let me know in the comments when you think we will get an announcement for Persona 6 and when the game will ultimately release. But for me, I'd love to see it release in 2025. But for a monumental title like Persona 6, I wouldn't be surprised to see Atlus push this game into 2026 to really cap off the 30th anniversary. But man, would I like to be wrong on that. While Persona 3 Reload is great,
I can bet you any money that Persona 6 would be like 200 hours. It's like, you guys have waited for 10 years. Don't throw things at me anymore. It would I know, I'm not giving it back to you. It would take like 200 hours because we waited for like 10 years. Anyway,
finally experience another mainline Persona game for the first time again. Moving on to the content of the game, Midori came out and said that the game's color scheme is green, which aligns with what Head on the Block said in mid-March this year, when he stated that the color scheme is green. But in addition to that, added that the theme of Persona 6 is black and white, stating that you can do things during the day or at night. He also adds that there are characters with names that start with K and S. We'll get back to Head on a Block's post real quick, but just wanted to point out that Persona 6 could likely feature a dichotomy of sorts, just like the black and white theme suggests, along with both day and night. The letter P and the number 6 are nearly split images of the same
How
character.
cool is that? I love this. I love this logo.
P, representing a yin-yang like.
Guys, he's taking advantage of being here in person, and you know what? He's gonna be editing this freaking video. This was supposed to be a seamless video for YouTube. Guess who's gonna be editing this highlight? He's just gotten himself an hour of work because of this. You'll see.
Appearance. So the importance of two protagonists, along with a black and white theme giving importance to both day and night, may be correct here. As for the names starting with K and S, in Japanese, the color black is Kuro, and the color white is Shiro. So maybe this naming scheme, if true, plays into the theme of the game. Also, fun fact, Midori in Japanese translates to green, so hey, who would?
Oh!
We'll just have to see if this ends up happening when we get more concrete details of the game.
Spoilers,
Either way,
no!
It is likely that green is the official color of the game, even though
I think it would be one of the biggest disappointments now that we kind of know or assume that it's going to be green. Suddenly, after like a year of thinking that it's going to be green, it's suddenly like black and white. It just sounds less exciting at this point. If this game is twice as long as P5, so help me. I don't know. I think that this is one of my pet peeves when it comes to Atlus. I think they give you a huge game to just slowly kind of bite through, and it's just their style. But at the same time, longer and longer games don't necessarily mean better and better. Now, for example, I don't know how long Metaphor is yet. I think that some people have finished it in like 70 or 80 hours, which is borderline encouraging. Neon being a menace. He really is being a menace, and I'm trying so hard. Hi, Badger. Welcome back. No, not me trying to keep my most serious face ever. I'm like, I'm doing a reaction video for my little YouTube channel, and Neon being like, I don't even know what he's doing. I'm trying so hard not to look. My God, he's already thrown things at me. I heard him cough and type and speak and walk around, and what's that? Oh my God, is he gonna be editing this video? Anyway, Honey Badger, how are you doing today?
the theme may take on two different colors. The green color has been the primary color of choice for many Persona 6 theorists over the years, and Atlus may have been dangling this color in our face all these years since they released this artwork for the series' 25th anniversary with the green paint in the bucket. Sound off in the comments what you think about the color green for Persona 6.
I like it.
The theme of black and white. In this same post, Head on the Block claims that there is a foreign exchange student in the game, of which may or may not be one of the protagonists. That much is unclear, and also states that there is at least one DLC that lets you, quote, fly.
What?
So, when going over DLC for Persona 6,
Fly?
last year Midori pointed out that Sega was interested in giving all its titles a series of DLC to extend the lengths of their games, with Midori stating that Lost Judgment was used as a blueprint of sorts for Persona 3 Reload in that game's DLC. Little did we know, less than a month after Persona 3 Reload launched, that DLC was indeed coming to that game, and it arrived in a way very similar to that of Lost Judgment, where we got soundtrack and cosmetic packs, along with a big content pack including an additional storyline and playable characters in the way of Persona 3 Reload's episode Aegis, with Midori stating that Persona 3 Reload is kind of a testing ground of sorts for Persona 6's DLC. We have more insight that Persona 6's DLC is going to be very substantial and will get content added to the game regularly.
Honestly, I just really hope that it's not a full copy paste of a dungeon crawler like The Answer. I did like The Answer and I do love the story, and I'm actually working on a couple of videos specifically for the Answer DLC, but yeah, exactly. Neon, behave. Like even the chat's noticing at this point. Come on. Come on, Neon. I don't even know what he's doing. Do you guys know what he's doing? I'm just going to say this as someone from the Nier team is on the Persona team as well, because Black and White was a theme in Nier Reincarnation. I actually don't know who's on the team, but if we ever get some sort of a Yoko Taro Persona Atlus sort of mix or something like that, how cool would that be? Jack, welcome back. How are you doing? All right, let's watch the video if we can.
over a series of years. In early March this year, Head on the Block stated that Persona 6 is a fully semi-open world game, saying that the game is 95% complete and is releasing next year, 2020,
What?
with DLC. He goes on to claim that DLC will include story and characters, and stated that development paused on Persona 6 to make way for a 2 to 3 year roadmap of DLC coming to the game. So,
Nah.
a semi-open world game featuring a multi-year approach to DLC. If this turns out to be true, then Persona 6 is on a scale we have never seen the series before, and makes me even more stoked to get that official announcement we've all been waiting for. In other news about the content of Persona 6, Head on the Block states that the player can control a woman outside of combat and dungeons, but that a woman will not be part of the two main characters. There will also be tons of DLC provided for customizing, presumably.
Do you think that this DLC would be paid DLC or just included with the game?
Customizing each character's appearance, similar to the costume packs we've come to see in Persona 5 and Persona 3 Reload. Both Midori and Head on the Block also state that Persona 6 will adhere to the high school setting again. Finally, Head on the Block claims that social links will be much more fluid in Persona 6, allowing us to interact more with less time restrictions. The part about social links being more fluid and allowing us to interact more with the social link character sounds like a huge win in my book, as I feel like the more visual novel and static approach to the social links in the previous game.
I feel like by the time I reach the Persona 5 Royal DLC content, I'm not even gonna know it's DLC because everything is just in one game. What is the DLC? Apart from the items and the costume sets and everything that I've received at the beginning of the game, what is the DLC?
Games, while excellent, could use more interactivity. Alright, now we turn to part 3, where the most recent leaks and rumors are finally taking stage. So this past September, we were introduced to some juicy leaks and rumors about the game from ex-user Ramona Refantasio, detailing a long list of things regarding Persona 6 that almost identically reflects what Midori and Head on the Block reported half a year ago about the game's content. Again, I'm not going to repeat the controversy regarding the identity.
Spoilers! Not done with 5!
It's worth noting that Midori, or Ryan from the Bronx, as his new profile is named, backs this new information from Ramona Refantasio.
I hear the noise from the redeems.
Quote, a ton of correct information in this thread, end quote, referring to the stuff mentioned about Persona 6. Here on your screen is a comprehensive list of everything Ramona Refantasio leaked, starting with a release date of summer 2025, with a reveal being TGA.
No time to read. I can pause, but
the title is currently in the localization stage, remarking that the title will be on multiple consoles with no...
What's the Game Awards this year? At the Game Awards? September 15th. This was this year, right? It must be. Will be on most current gen consoles. I'm not counting on Switch 2 at launch personally, but we'll see.
Clear idea if it will launch on the Switch 2. Ramona Refantasio has since gone on to say that they are less sure about a reveal at the Game Awards. So again, like I stated at the start of this video, whether or not we hear about Persona 6 at the Game Awards, we're gonna get an official reveal likely in the coming months in 2025. Midori, currently Ryan from the Bronx, recently revealed that he believed Persona 5 The Phantom X is more likely to appear at the Game Awards than Persona 6, stating that he believed that Persona 6 is more likely to appear at a Switch 2 event to help spearhead that upcoming console. Similar to how Atlus revealed Persona 3 Reload, Persona 5 Tactica, and Metaphor Refantasio at Xbox events, Ryan thinks Atlus may be considering revealing Persona 6 at a Nintendo event to draw even more hype for the upcoming Switch 2. Ramona continues to explain that the main color scheme is green, corroborating Midori's leak this past spring, along with stating that the theme is black and white, which is in accordance with Head on the Block's statement. This also corroborates the two protagonists rumor, with Kudo and Shiro, Japanese for black and white respectively, being the names for the game's two primary protagonists. The game is described to be semi-open world, suggesting that the expansiveness of Metaphor perhaps influenced Persona 6's grand nature. Ramona continues, suggesting that social links have been greatly expanded upon, going further to suggest that the choices we make matter a bit more here in Persona 6.
Oh no, the choice anxiety.
Persona 6 would take place in high school. Ramona states that the game takes place in
Are we gonna get like in like 15 years, are we gonna have like Persona 8 or 9 and we're gonna be 50 or 60-year-olds playing a high school game? Is that looking like a realistic future for us? Probably.
An art school with the black and white duality representing modern and traditional art, highlighting the clashes and conflicting nature of modernity versus tradition. If true, having the story revolve around life at an art school would be decidedly different, which better helps distinguish this Persona game among the previous ones. So as for DLC, Ramona, like Head on the Block, mentioned that DLC is a major focus for the title, remarking that there would be a lot of DLC pertaining to cosmetics for party members, along with both smaller and larger expansions that expand on the base game, mentioning that perhaps the larger expansion may actually be separate from the base game. The user concludes by stating that there is around 3 years of planned DLC for Persona 6, mentioning that the initial expansion pass may not account for all the game's content. This corroborates what Midori stated earlier this year when Sega had used games like Lost Judgment and Persona 3 Reload as test games to see how successful long-term DLC plans could extend the life of their titles. So this much more ambitious Persona 6 DLC plan may feed into Sega and Atlus's intentions in increasing the game's longevity. This calls into question the existence of a potential re-release for Persona 6 or a definitive edition of it, as such an edition may not be planned due to this DLC content rollout. With games like Persona 3 FES and P3P, along with Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5 Royal, and Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance being examples of enhanced re-releases of existing games, Persona 6 may forego that path entirely by adhering to the supposed DLC model, but that of course remains to be seen. Ryan from the Bronx states that the development of Persona 6 has moved towards localization, with continued development on DLC expansions starting to pick up. In case you were curious about other projects outside of Persona 6 that Atlus may be working on, Ryan stated that, in addition to Persona 6, that Persona 5 The Phantom
Sega, yeah, is
remake
a bit weird,
along with remasters and other media filling the gap.
I feel the same way.
Years, with even another Persona spin-off in development. Ryan continues further, stating that Persona 4 Remake is early on in development.
Okay, so a bit controversial, but do you think that Persona 4 deserves or needs a remake to begin with? I thought when I first saw the game that it does need one because the graphics did look a little outdated, but now I'm starting to think after I've finished the game that the game is just absolutely charming the way it is. I just don't see it needing a remake.
And there you have it. A complete chronological summary.
Pause there on the black screen. Good job, V.
Stated from Atlus and Sega themselves, along with key Persona leakers. Whether or not we hear about Persona 6 at the Game Awards, I'm betting we'll be seeing this game in 2026 at the absolute latest. So just hang in there and enjoy everything else Atlus has released this year.
10 years.
Go ahead and let me know what you think about all this information regarding Persona 6 in the comments. I'll be sure to keep you all updated with further developments regarding Persona 6. Go ahead and catch me over in this video.
This was a good video, and some of these updates and rumors and whatnot we've already seen, we've already heard of it, but I think it was just really nice to see it all in the same place and kind of get excited for the all of the game awards announcements, because something is definitely coming. What was the poll? Let me see. Will Persona 6 be better than Persona 5? Well, we're not sure. I think it's just going to be different in some way, but I'm going to say something that I feel is a big fear of mine, not with Atlus and in general not with JRPGs, like these famous and prominent Japanese studios who don't tend to I'm just gonna go out and say it, don't go fully woke with some some like game changes and whatnot. I don't think that we're gonna see a Persona 6 or even like a Kingdom Hearts 4 or something like that containing a lot of stuff that people are just generally going to cringe at. So I have faith that the game is in general going to be well accepted. I would be worried if it was just a new release and they decided to just appease, appease, I don't know if that's the right word, but if they just wanted to please the masses or whatever and fail the way Dragon Age has failed. Now, I shouldn't be talking about Dragon Age because I haven't played it and I don't know anything about the franchise, but I have seen enough of the new Dragon Age to make me less inclined to even play the previous Dragon Ages, because if this is how, let's say, if this is how it ends, I'm not sure I want to go ahead and see the beginning in the first place. Remaster would do P4 wonders? Maybe. I think a remaster would be nice, and we all know we'll play it, okay? Regardless of whether it's fully the same story or not, we know that we would absolutely play it. All the characters can have midlife issues in 10 years. I mean, true. It would, I don't know, like, it would, how nice would it be to once get, like, a DLC or a game or something where, I don't know, 10 years later, I don't know, the crowd from the Persona 3 Reload gets together again because there's trouble in Tartarus once again, and, it's like, I think it would be kind of exciting. I mean, I'm a bit, I guess my opinion on Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth is a bit complicated. I am much more of a Final Fantasy VII Remake person rather than a Rebirth person. Rebirth for me was just too much open world, too much walking around, too many things. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but for me, it was a bit overwhelming as so many things were going on that I just kind of appreciated the linearity of Remake. I just really loved Remake, so I think that's where the difference is. And when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, I have not played Kingdom Hearts, and spoilers, this is something that I would like to start playing after I'm done with Persona, at least for the time being, until Persona 6 comes out, right? I think it would be nice to start with it and get ourselves ready for Kingdom Hearts 4. It'll take me the longest time to go through it, I'm aware of it, but I already have it as a courtesy of Dark Demon Arts, who's gifted me Kingdom Hearts earlier this year. I think it would be nice to play it. Tenchu 1 and 2 needs a remake. I don't know which games those are. What's Tenchu? Personally sick of all the unneeded remakes. Yeah, me too. If it's unneeded, I don't want it. That's... I agree with that. But if it's gonna get the same treatment, if Persona 4 would get the same treatment as Persona 3 Reload, I'm down for it. Because Persona 3 Reload is just gorgeous, and I love the game. Let me see. Sick of seeing new games coming out and seeing that they're incomplete or needs patching or has constant issues. Yeah, this is what I'm worried about with Atlus games in general, because every single Atlus game has gotten like a remake, reload, golden, whatever it is. And at this point, I don't know, Metaphor comes out and I'm like, are they going to release a new Metaphor in 2 years? If they release Persona 6, is Persona 6 going to get a new Persona 6 game? Maybe, probably, maybe it's their business model. It kind of makes me worry, it really does. Yeah, same story for double amount of money, unless it's fully remastered to the point that it just feels like a different game. To me, obviously, Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth feel different than the original, but I still want to go back to the original and replay it. I've only ever played it once. Like, I played Final Fantasy VII Original once in my life. I don't remember like half of the things that I played through, and I think I would enjoy it a lot more now. Persona 4 Arena Ultimates has that. I see. 10 years, I'd love to see a game where the characters now are NPCs. Honestly, that would be kind of fun. I love how they did a similar thing. Well, I guess not a similar thing with Chidori when she appeared in, spoilers, I guess, in Persona 4 as a kind of a guest character. I do like when they mix things up like that and when a character from one game appears in another. I really do love that. Oh, PS1 game decent get. I see. I don't think I've ever even seen PS1 in my whole entire life. I'm sorry, but sadsies. I know, me too. I don't want to see another remake that, that is unnecessary, and on top of that, it just doesn't work. Give me games like Baldur's Gate 3, I'm happy. Me too. Took me ages to go through Baldur's Gate 3. But did you know that we have an actual real Baldur's Gate 3 champion here in the chat? Ortiz, would you like to share how many hours you currently have in Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3? Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is coming soon, for sure. For sure. Well, soon. As soon as we finish with Persona, I really want to start with Kingdom Hearts. It's time. It's time. And yeah, I don't want to see any more issues. It's just, I don't know, like, I just want a smooth game release. Metaphor, I felt, was a smooth release. Atlus in general lately has had really smooth releases, and I'm happy. I'm happy enough about it. Act 1, have 2,000 hours, got 94% of the achievements. Jeez, that is a lot. Almost went to Act 2 on accident. How did you do it? And how did you stop yourself? I have to hear this story. 722 hours in Act 1. Jesus, I don't blame you at all. Baldur's Gate 3 is just a fantastic, fantastic game.